In today's video, we're going to be talking about the most entertaining fighters that the UFC have to offer in the sport right now. Obviously, this is my personal choice, so if you disagree with any or I'm missing any, let me know down below. These are must-watch TV every single time. Two sleeper bangers in here. There's going to be a few obvious ones. Nevertheless, let's have a conversation about it and all that good shit. Let's get into it. In no particular order, the first person on my list, we're going to start with a little sleeper banger, Triple A Arnold Allen. Now, if you know, I'm a massive Arnold Allen fan on this channel. I think his movement is some of the best in the featherweight division at the moment. I think he's had some absolute barn burners against Gene Silva, Max Holloway. He just put on a clinic against Mircea Acosta. I think he's the most underrated fighter in the sport at the moment. You know, people look at the losses to Silva, to Movsar, to Holloway. I think he beat Movsar, in my opinion. The Holloway fight, fair enough, he was right there. And the Silva fight, in that third round, if he just went for it a little bit more, I feel like he could have got the win there. Interesting to see who Arnold fights next. I would love to see him versus Aljamain Sterling. I think that makes so much sense. They're both coming off wins. It would really show where Arnold's grappling is in the sport at the moment, because a lot of questions with the Movsar fight and things like that. That would actually be one of the sickest fights that they could put on at featherweight at the moment. Arnold Allen versus Aljamain Sterling has a little bit of everything. I would go with Arnold in that fight. Now, Sterling did have an incredible performance against UFC a couple of months ago. Arnold had an incredible performance against Costa. I think this is going to be the next fight for both men. Honestly, I really do. Both the lost to Movsar. Unfortunately, Movsar is going to be fighting Volkanovski in October anyway. But if you look at the movement of Arnold Allen, and look at his strike combinations that he's able to land, look at the Gene Silva fight, the hooks to the body against Movsar Evloev, the way he's able to just move in and out. He's a bit more, in my opinion, of a cleaner movement Dominic Cruz with the footwork. A cleaner footwork Dominic Cruz. I genuinely believe that he's the best featherweight movement. I think he's some of the best movement in the UFC at the moment. And he's an incredible striker with good takedown defense. He just kind of drags into kind of like dog fights against Holloway, running in and getting knocked down against Holloway, getting into it with Gene Silva, which was just such a fucking scrap, by the way. Honestly, go back and look how sick that fight was. But what makes him so entertaining, is how artistic he is, first of all. That's one of the things. But just the fact he's able to put on like a Costa-like performance and do like a masterclass, but then put it up there with like a dog like Gene Silva and really get into a scrap. I think Arnold Allen is one of the most underrated fighters on the roster at the moment, and I think he's an absolute beast. Lads. Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. I wouldn't necessarily say that Paddy has an all-in-all unbelievable fight every single time like Justin Gaethje, but when you saw him fight Justin Gaethje, you saw the level of dog that Paddy Pimblett has, the level that he's able to endure, the absolute skill set that he does have. Is not top 5 though. It's not top 5. I'm sorry. As much as I think Paddy's entertaining in the cage, he definitely brings a lot of hype around it, but I wouldn't say Paddy's the best on the mic either. Whenever it's his media day, it's just like, I'm the boy, lad. You know what I'm saying? Everyone wants to fight me, mate. You know what I mean, lad? Because you know who the boy is, lads. You know, and I'm just like, I love Paddy. I do. But I just don't think he's top 5. I think Quillen would beat him. Gaethje just beat him. I think Max would beat him. I think Charles would beat him. I think Ilya would beat him. I think Arman would beat him. I don't think Paddy's top 5. Like, I really don't. I don't think a win over Benoit Saint Denis, who got smoked by Renato Moicano as well, by the way. Let's not forget that. But what makes Paddy so entertaining? A, he actually does bring in a lot of eyes in. And B, he can have absolute wars. Like, we saw it against Gaethje, and even the Benoit Saint Denis performance. That is going to get a lot of eyes. That is going to draw a lot of people. That is going to make it very fucking entertaining. The Chandler fight was a good fight. I wouldn't necessarily say, like I said at the start, Paddy has unbelievable fights every single time, but there is a level of hype that gets you excited for Paddy Pimblett's fight. And when he puts on performances like he did against Justin Gaethje and just makes it an absolute war and shows no quit and shows nothing but heart, that is going to get a lot of people in there. And that's why Paddy's so entertaining, because he has some sort of mic skills. I wouldn't say it's the best, you know what I mean? But there's definitely a lot of draw here. I do think we were kind of like O'Malley, Pimblett, forced down our throat a little bit. Sean O'Malley became a world champion. Paddy Pimblett got to an interim world title shot, and he's probably one win away from fighting for a belt. Who he's going to fight, The lightweight division is so messy at the moment, and there's a lot of people on the lightweight division in this list, which shows how unbelievable that division is. But it's kind of unknown where Paddy kind of lies in the division right now. Ilya makes a lot of sense. Holloway makes sense. Quillen makes sense. Charles makes sense. There's so many that make sense. If I was going to pick one name, I would have picked Ilya Topuria to beat that fight. I think at the moment, Ilya doesn't get a rematch. He never even defended a belt at lightweight, and he was out for a year. And Justin kind of has the right, given what everything he's done, to kind of say, right, I kind of want to fight this guy. Whether it be a Holloway rematch, whether it be an Oliveira rematch, probably will happen. I'm not really mad at whatever Justin Gaethje does, as long as it's not Paddy or Ilya. Those two need to fight each other. It's been long enough. The hype is there. We need to see that fight. It's one of the best fights that the UFC can put on, man. It really is. And I like Paddy Pimblett a lot. You win a fight on Saturday night. How can you not have Max Holloway on this list? He just never in a boring fight. The only boring enough fight I kind of seen from Holloway was actually the Aaron Lallin fight, where Holloway really just kind of played defensive, kind of counter-attacking on the back foot, which at the time was kind of unique to Holloway because he's such a forward pressure fighter and things like that. He's going to get in your face, which Arnold thought he might be able to lead that way. He might be able to get some counters going, win rounds that way. But Holloway just went in there and kind of shook it up. And that shows you the level that Holloway is, that can adapt to independent fight situations based on his opponent, because he knew how challenging Arnold was and stuff like that. But listen, do I need to say any more? The Gaethje fight was a banger. Oliveira fight wasn't really a banger, wasn't really his fault. I suppose it was actually, because he got held down and taken down. But still, the Poirier fights, absolute wars. The Yair fights, absolute wars. The Volkanovski fights were still good fights, even though they weren't absolute wars. He's been in so many unbelievable fights. And the Poirier trilogy, what a fucking scrap. You know what I mean? The Poirier second fight was one of the best fights I've ever seen. I love Max Holloway, man. I really do. I think he's got decent trash talk. He kind of like leads with kind of cold lines, which is what I fucking love about Holloway. And his in-cage performances are always backed up, man. He's been at the top for so long. I don't really know what way they're going to lean with Holloway. I don't think he's going to fight this year. Even though I think he should, I really don't. I don't think they're going to give him Paddy Pimblett. I think it's going to have to wait and see. Definitely not going to do a Charles rematch. No one's trying to see that. I would have loved to have seen him versus Huffy. I would have loved to have seen him versus Paddy. I think those would have been two scraps. And even Quillen Salkid would have been an unbelievable fight. Still could be. But I really think Max is going to wait this year out. I don't think he's going to fight the rest of the year. I think he's going to wait it out, see who's about, see who's left in the division. Then Max is going to swoop in and kind of see where he lies, because Holloway is always going to be one win away from a title shot at lightweight. Especially if Gaethje beats Oliveira, he's going to get that title fight. If Gaethje can get through Oliveira, which I don't think he will, because Oliveira has improved so much, and he still finished him in the first round in that fight. Yes, Gaethje has improved too, but still, if Holloway gets a win over, I don't know, Quillen, let's say, just as an example, and Gaethje beats Oliveira in December, let's say that happens. Let's say they both fight in December. It's going to happen in March or April or something like that. Holloway will fight for an undisputed world title once again. And fuck me, I would love it if he wins. I would absolutely love to see Holloway get the belt. I just think he's so entertaining. And there's never, ever a Max Holloway fight week that me and real UFC fans are not just ecstatic over. I cannot remember ever being like, oh, it's a Max Holloway fight week. I'm not excited. He's just so fucking entertaining, bro. I love Max Holloway. Here's the fucking thing about the lightweight division, you guys. Here's the fucking thing. You got a couple of fucking... I'm not going to say that. Sean Strickland has become one of my favorite fighters in the UFC the last couple of years. Now, for a while there, I really didn't like Sean Strickland. I just thought he was annoying. I thought he was a bit of a crybaby. It was just like, mate, you don't need to say your opinion on everything. No one really gives a fuck. But then I was just like, holy shit, this guy's fucking funny. And he talks about some real shit as well. And he definitely has inspired a lot of people. And when he beat the fuck out of Chimaev after that whole fight week, I mean, he literally demanded respect. He was literally... he left me no choice but to be a massive Sean Strickland fan. And listen, I agree with probably 99% of what Sean Strickland says, to be honest with you. I fucking love Sean Strickland. He makes every single fight week entertaining. And this year has been a huge year for Strickland, because he got the fluffy KO and he picked up the win against Hamza. I was very underestimating Strickland going into that fight. I was like, there's just no way Sean Strickland has no chance. You know, Chimaev's too dominant. The grappling in middleweight's always been shit. Dricus was taking him down and things like that. And look what happened between Sean and Dricus. But damn, Sean Strickland went in there and just put a beating on him. Put a beating on him with the jab and the teep and the cocksucker guard, as Dan Hardy once said. And now Sean Strickland is sitting there, in my opinion, the face of the UFC. I truly think Justin Gaethje and Sean Strickland are the faces of the UFC at the moment. And a lot of people might say recency bias. Yeah. Guess what? When you win, you become one of the faces. It's that fucking simple. It's not Alex Pereira anymore. I don't even ever think it was Alex Pereira. Maybe 2 years ago, Alex Pereira had a really good claim because the UFC was just so fucking shit. The UFC last year, in particular, around, I want to say around March till May, in and around that, it took us the whole summer to really revive how shit the first half of last year was. We had no featherweight champion because Ilya moved up. We had no lightweight champion because Makhachev moved up. And John Jones was holding up the heavyweight division. So we had no heavyweight champion. The champions we did have, Pantoja, Balal, Merab, Ankalaev, and Dricus, I think it was. Dricus at the time. But then, you know, we started to pick up some wins. You know, Jan got the belt. Peter Yan is champion, bro. It's good day. It's good day to be alive whenever Yan is alive. Don't worry, Jan's on this list. Peter Yan is champion and things like that to really, you know, showcase the year out strong. And here's the fucking thing, guys. Strickland is one of my favorite fighters, even though he has some boring performances. You know, the Paulo Costa fight was kind of shit. Neither of the Dricus fights were massively entertaining and stuff like that. He's become one of my favorites. And the level of hype he's able to generate on fight week, how can you deny him, bro? How can you deny him? Charles Oliveira. A lot of people might be pissed off at Oliveira at the moment, given his Holloway performance. And I would honestly say go fuck yourself if that's you. The amount of unbelievable fights that Oliveira has given us throughout the years, one of the most active champions, one of the real G's of the game that I would describe Charles Oliveira. Yes, he had a boring performance against Chandler. Yes, he had a boring performance against Holloway. Definitely using his offensive wrestling a lot more. Even though, I don't think Oliveira is the type of guy to just hold you down and just do what he did to Holloway. You know, as crazy as that might seem, because he just did it to Holloway, but that was never really his style. Look at the Gaethje fight. Look at the Poirier fight. Look at the even Kevin Lee fight. He submitted Kevin Lee and stuff like that. And he went on a tear, bro. Back then, prime Charles Oliveira, he was on an absolute tear. Even submitting Mateus Gamrot back in October as well, by the way. Please don't forget that, because, you know, people forget, man. And Oliveira's title run is one of the best title runs I've ever seen, because Oliveira really fell in love with his hands when he knocked down Gaethje, then submitting him. The champion has a name. And then one of the most hyped fight cards I've ever seen was the Makhachev versus Oliveira, TJ Dillashaw, Aljamain Sterling, and Peter Yan and Sean O'Malley. I don't think the hype for that card is ever going to be topped. That was one of the most hyped cards of all time. But anyone that's frustrated with Oliveira and things like that, I'd honestly say go fucking suck it, mate, because this guy's given us so many unbelievable fights. The Gaethje fight, the Poirier fight, so many bangers over the years. Doing the hyperextension of Tony Ferguson's elbow as well, by the way. Absolutely nasty. I love Oliveira. He's one of my favorite fighters of all time. How can't he be? When he got slimed out by Topuria, it was tough, man. It was tough. But I think Oliveira now, I think he beats Gaethje. I think he beats Arman. I honestly think Oliveira now is probably the second best lightweight in the world. And for a while there, I don't know. See, the thing is, I say second best because I'm thinking it's Topuria, because Topuria beat him, but then Topuria just lost to Gaethje. And I think it's all about styles in this game. I really think it's all about styles. Stylistically, Oliveira is a great style for Topuria. But Gaethje is a great style for Oliveira. And I think Oliveira would absolutely dismantle Gaethje just as bad as the first time, if not worse. Because I think he's improved so much. I think he was going to knock out Max Holloway on the feet if it stayed standing. I would have never expected to say that in my entire life. I think the improvements Oliveira has made from the Arman first fight as well, I think he would wrap Arman up in something or even knock him out in the feet. I just think Charles has improved so much since his, you know, the Islam Makhachev first fight. It is a bit of a shame that we never got to see the Makhachev second fight. Actually, a big shame, because I always said Oliveira at lightweight was probably the most dangerous fighter for many years against Makhachev. Probably the only one I would have sat there and said, yeah, I think you really could get him in something. But, you know, Makhachev went in there and just submitted him. You know, but there's never going to be a case where Oliveira is not dangerous in a fight. Like, it's just not going to happen. But the amount of wars this guy's given me over the years, he's one of my favorite fighters of all time. Gene Silva. I hate to say it. I hate to say it because I'm not a Gene Silva fan. I don't know. I just think he's cringe. He barks and shit. I'm just like, mate, shut the fuck up. Cannot deny this guy's entertaining. Cannot. 12 wins by knockouts, 3 wins by submissions. So he's finished 15 out of 17 wins. The dude is just an absolute fucking stud. You know, 10 first round finishes in his career is insane. And he fucking beat my boy Arnold. And now I must say, Gene Silva has a perfectly good chance to redeem himself when he splatters Yair Rodriguez on the canvas. When Gene Silva does that, me and Gene Silva will be on good terms. Anyone that beats Yair is on good terms with me. It's like Gan. If you beat Cyril Gan, I don't really care who you are. You're on my good books. Genuinely. If fucking Sergey Pavlovich came back and splattered Gan, he'd be one of my favorite fighters in the UFC. I'm glad Gene Silva is the one to do this to Yair, because I think Gene Silva is going to be someone that could brutally knock Yair so badly out that he will never fight again. And that's exactly what I want to see. I don't want to see Yair Rodriguez in the featherweight division anymore, unless he's active. If Yair Rodriguez is active, then we can talk. A year and a half out the cage when he took no damage against Pitbull is fucking bullshit. And I ain't falling for that fucking shit. But Gene Silva's, like I always say with Gene Silva, slice and dice. When he gets in the pocket, he's one of the most dangerous fighters that we see. I think he would beat Volkanovski. To be honest with you, I would be so sad, bro. Oh my God, I wouldn't be able for that, man. Just retire after Movsar, Volk. Retire. I think he would beat Volkanovski. And he ran into the brick wall that is Diego Lopez. Because Diego Lopez, I'm actually going to move on to Diego Lopez right now. If Volkanovski was not champion, Diego Lopez would be ruling the featherweight division. But he has recently put on his Twitter and stuff like that, him meeting Hunter Campbell with the hashtag 155. Why is he moving up to 155? Why? Now, he looks pretty jacked in this photo for sure, but still, I don't think he's going to have the same level of success at 55. Now, I think Lopez at 55 is fucking huge. It's huge because he adds so much flavor, so much value, so much stardom. So many great fights could be made at lightweight. Maybe you do Max Holloway versus Diego Lopez when he moves up to lightweight. I think Max Holloway should fight this year again because you fought at 170. You didn't do a crazy weight cut or anything like that. You're still in your prime. You didn't take any damage against Oliveira. You should try and redeem yourself. And maybe Lopez is the perfect fight. Maybe I might make a video on matchmaking the lightweight division tomorrow, to be honest with you, because it is kind of tricky. But I think Diego Lopez right now is one of the biggest draws that the UFC can put on. And I had a lot of beef with Diego Lopez for his fringe game. I was like, mate, please get that fucking trim sorted. But he sorted out Gene Silva. You know what I mean? He sorted out Gene Silva. 15 first round finishes. 12 wins by knockout. 12 wins by submission. 24 wins. 12 wins by submission is fucking insane. Absolutely insane. But you're moving up to lightweight. Obviously, you're going to have... Obviously, Diego Lopez's chin is absolute granite. Like, the shots that Silva was landing on Lopez, and he just stood there and ate it like it was nothing, is crazy. But if it's Gaethje landing those shots... You know, Paddy Pimblett got dropped in the first round, and Paddy Pimblett always had an incredible chin. You know what I mean? If Gaethje's landing those shots on Lopez, can he really last? I'd probably pick Gaethje to beat Lopez because he's quite stationary, and Gene Silva kind of just gassed out and got caught. But I think Gaethje would beat Lopez right now. I think Holloway would definitely beat Lopez. I think the fact that Gene Silva showed that he's so hittable makes me think that people like Holloway, people like Gaethje, Topuria Lopez would have been such a sick fucking fight at featherweight, by the way. So many different ways you can match my lightweight. So many different ways. But how can you not be a fan of Diego Lopez? He's one of the most active motherfuckers I have ever seen. Would not be surprised if we see him twice more this year. Would not be surprised if you see Diego Lopez again. Twice, to be honest with you. I think the Steve Garcia fight, oh man, the White House card was so fucking good, man. I love the UFC, bro. It's class. But have you been thinking about MMA? What would it take? Tom Aspinall. Listen, big TNT over here. I still have faith. I still think Tom is the best heavyweight in the world. I still think Tom beats Cyril Gane in a rematch. I still think Tom is the force we all thought he was. I just think just because you didn't splatter the second best heavyweight in the first exchange doesn't mean you're not overrated. He beat Sergey Pavlovich, who was the scariest dude in the division at the time. He splattered Curtis Blades. He splattered Alexander Volkov. Alexander Volkov is one of the most underrated fighters in the UFC. It's insane. And Tom is just going in there making these guys look like absolutely nothing. How can you not like Tom Aspinall, man? How can you not like Tom Aspinall? Shortest fight time in the history. Fun fact about Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall has spent a total of 1 second on his back in the UFC when he slipped against Volkov. That's a nice little fun fact there. I didn't even know that till today. But there's a lot of hype around Tom because a lot of people are still kind of like, look at this, bro. 15 wins, 14 first round finishes. 100% finish rate. 3 submission, 12 knockouts. 100% finish rate. 14 first round finishes. He's been in the UFC fucking 5 or 6 years. 14 finish rate in first round finishes in 15 fights. Do people not understand? People understand how good Tom is and how dangerous Aspinall is. Best heavyweight of all time. Don't give me this Cain Velasquez or Stipe Miocic bullshit. Okay? Tom would splatter them, no joke, in less than a round combined. Absolutely, 1,000,000%. He would run through Stipe Miocic so easily. Cyril Gane is a harder fight than prime Stipe Miocic. 100%. Cyril Gane right now is a harder fight for Aspinall. It's the hardest possible fight that Tom can take. Simply because the long-range striker, you know, he's used to fighting a lot of guys. Big, heavy-handed. Pavlovich doesn't really move that well. Plotty Man Blades doesn't really move that well. And a lot of people might say, oh, well, then it's easy to get, it's easy to get first-round KOs, then, bruh. No, it's not. They're heavyweight, bro. They're fucking heavyweight. Volkov as well. Volkov's an absolute beast. You don't see Gane knocking out Volkov in the first round. Took him 5 rounds to beat him in a close decision. And got a robbery win in the second one. And how'd that Gane-Pavlovich fight go? Oh, wait. But Gane's elusive movement is going to be hard for him to track, but Cyril Gane is hittable, and Tom was really finding a range in that first fight. My only worry with Aspinall is that he's going on every podcast known to man. He's really playing into this, I'm a UFC champion and trying to get all the media attention, and that's 100% fine because he's trying to get the bag. No problem at all from my end on that. Absolutely none. But you have a duty now. You have to get through Gane. You have to, bro. You cannot afford to not beat Cyril Gane. Because if you don't beat Cyril Gane, I can't take him, man. I couldn't even deal with the John Jones fans, to be honest with you. But Tom always humble guy. I like Tom a lot. His first round finish style. Tom is probably the most deadly finisher in the UFC at the moment. He's a special athlete. This dude is an absolute fucking beast. Listen, I really don't need to say much on Justin Gaethje. If I need to explain to you why Gaethje's on this list, then you just have no clue about UFC. Every single fight has been a war. Every single scrap that we have seen Justin Gaethje in, there's never ever been a boring fight in his life. Honestly, if you want to argue, Holloway was probably the most boring fight Gaethje's ever had. And still, I'm pretty sure they got fight of the year, but it was kind of always going to get fight of the year for being real with ourselves. Poirier, Eddie Alvarez, Poirier, how many fights do I need to say? Tony Ferguson, Cowboy, James Vick. We can keep going. One of my favorite fighters in the history of the UFC. Justin Gaethje, I've been a huge fan of for a very, very long time. His fight style, his whole cold approach to fighting really intrigued me, to be honest with you. He's kind of like He says he's completely emotionless nowadays from the UFC. It's taken away his emotions. And that's exactly why Gaethje is the champion at the moment. I can't believe Justin Gaethje is the undisputed world champion. Like, I always thought he was just going to be that guy that was a fucking brawler and you tune in no matter what he did. But he just never was good enough to be champion. Boy, was I wrong. Because boy, he put on the perfect game plan against Elite Poirier. Fair play to his coaches, Trevor Whitman and stuff like that, because they cooked up the best possible game plan for Gaethje against the Poirier, keeping our range, popping the jab. Like, it's never really letting Poirier get started with his combinations, kind of just completely demobilizing him with the jab. Anytime he tried to get started, popping the jab, then he come in overhand right. And all those shots with Gaethje's power really added up, because everyone that fights always says, yeah, Gaethje was the hardest hitter I've ever fought. Khabib said that, Poirier said that and shit like that. If you don't, I would have, my dream fight would have been Anthony Pettis versus Justin Gaethje, to be honest with you. Oh, fuck, I would have creamed myself. Brandon Royval. I love Royval. His sink or swim, or drown or get drowned style. It's just so entertaining, bro. 10 first round finishes as well, 10 submissions, 4 knockouts. Never really been one to put a bad beating on someone with the hands, but it's nasty ground game, bro. And he can stand and bang in there. The Lonnie Cavada versus Royval fight, unbelievable fight. Absolutely unbelievable. Joshua Van versus Brandon Royval has to be one of the best fights that you will ever see. Kai Kara France versus Royval. I always just fucked with Brandon Royval's forward pressure, getting in your face, saying, nah, fuck you. Like, I'm here right now. I'm going to take your fucking head off or you're going to kill me. I fucking love that fight style when fighters do that. And Royval he's the king of, like, the king of chaos, I guess you could say. Colby. Colby Chaos, Covington, I guess you could say. But he's the king of mad situations. A bit like Gaethje. Although I think Royval is much more like a what the fuck is going on half the time. Because Gaethje can lead fights and Gaethje can be the leader in fights to... You played the sound of his drum, exactly what Poirier did. But Royval doesn't hear any noise. He just goes in there and fucking tries to take your head off. And the only fight I didn't actually see him do that was Pantoja for the title. And I feel like to beat Pantoja, you really need to just go in there and really fucking try and sink the guy, which is exactly what Joshua Van is going to do. And it's exactly what Joshua Van has to do. Because I don't think Joshua Van can really outpoint, Pantoja and things like that. I just think Pantoja is so crafty. Such a veteran in the game. He's got such good grappling. And Tatsuro really kind of showed Joshua Van early on that he can get taken down and stuff like that. I actually can't remember who I picked in that fight. I actually can't remember. But if you don't know about Brandon Royval, you need to know about Brandon Royval. Last but not least, Piotr Yan. When I just seeing that right there fills me with happiness, fills me with joy, fills me with just every single thing I love about fighting and about the UFC and about just life in general. When he beat Merab, that was top 3 probably happiest days of my life. I just love Yan so much. He's been such a cold killer over the years. He's been such a fucking robot and things like that. And even though he can't speak English, I just love his first round style of downloading his data and then just piecing it all together. He's such a fucking killer, bro. And he beat Merab. I'm never, ever, ever going to feel the level of happiness to see a fighter lose. A, because I don't like Merab's fight style. I think it's boring as fucking always has been. And B, because Peter Yan is one of my favorite fighters ever. He's so skillful. His boxing at range, his kicks, even his trips on the inside and stuff like that. Look at the Corey Sandhagen fight. Look at how skillful he was in that fight. Look at the Aljo first fight. Even though Aljo actually did pretty well in the first fight, a lot of people don't give him credit for his performance in that fight. I think Yan is just the most calculated killer. The most skillful fighter I have ever seen is Peter Yan. If I'm being honest with ourselves here. Even his performances against Figgy, Song Yadong, and stuff like that. Marcus McGee, I don't know why he ever fought fucking Marcus McGee, to be honest with you. A lot of these guys give people problems. And people that know UFC know that they were worried for Peter Yan in any 3-round fight. Yan in the 3-round fight, I don't care who he's fighting, is always going to be a worry. It's always going to be a worry. But you know why Peter Yan is on this list. Let me know what you think about it. Justin Gaethje, Tom Aspinall, Gene Silva, Diego Lopez, Brandon Royval, Sean Strickland, Charles Oliveira, Paddy Pimblett, Max Holloway, Arnold Allen are my must-watch fighters in the sport at the moment. I know it's going to be controversial. Some people are going to have things to say. But let's get a conversation going. Thanks for watching.